Go ahead and share what you want to share here.
Okay, so there's we're showing a screen, and we're looking at the future in two senses. First is in healthcare, the world has moved to outpatient and moved a lot closer to where people live. This is an example of a physician that's building an imaging center and a physical therapy center, outpatient, on the south side of Chicago near his offices and near his patients, rather than them having to go and be treated in a hospital. The second sense that we're looking at the future here is what you see is a conventional set of construction drawings, two-dimensional. And for now, right now we're in a transitional world. We're in between the world that I was trained in to draw in two dimensions, elevations, plans. Now technology has made it possible that while the product is two-dimensional, it comes from the fact that Simon, is building the building three-dimensionally in a digital world. And we are moving in the future to where I am certain there will be no more construction drawings, but the building will be built from the three-dimensional model. But in the meantime, Simon is building the building in a three-dimensional model, which is generically called BIM, or Building Information Management, because it's not really a drawing software, it's a graphic database. In other words, the lines are smart. They have information in it, not just a dumb line. That makes it all kinds of possibilities available to us. While we are leaders in what is possible in that, making that BIM, and in this case, the brand name is Revit. They own the market. We are leaders in thought leaders in what is possible with that. We still have to produce a conventional set of drawings. So let's start by going through very quickly some of the pages. I don't know if you want to go to a PDF or it's quicker to do it here.
They're all right here.
Okay, just the architectural. Let's go right to the 101. Okay, let's the floor plan. So conventional floor plan is existing. It's an old liquor store, and we're going to reuse the facade, split down the middle more or less. Big intensive imaging on the upper side, and then the open space on the bottom is the physical therapy area. Let's go to the elevations. No, sorry, sections. (903), I believe.
Yep. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, even when I was hand drawing, we did a cross section through the building. What's great about when you draw a building in three dimensions, draw it once and you can cut a slice anywhere you like, and it gives you accurate information. We're looking at the bottom level undergrade basement, the main floor, and in the barrel roof we created a mezzanine space where we're putting the utilities. Okay, let's go to the elevations. And I'm able, because it's in three dimensions, I'm able just to quickly put a circle around something and zoom right into it. It's already drawn. So let's go to the front elevation. There you go, either one. Just conventional elevations. We're putting the mechanical on the rooftop for modern use. Go to the far right, show that roof detail. So we're still doing details, and this is where we have to manage the new technology because it gets so detailed it becomes a bit of a black hole. So we have to decide, okay, how far do we take the three-dimensionality of something? So now, Simon, I'd like you to go to the three-dimensional model that's you pull these pages from. And go ahead and talk about it.
Well, basically, it's like you said, Frank. These aren't just lines; these are information. So if I select a wall here, I select this wall right here. That actually has data in it. This is a pretty simple wall right here. However, the program knows that it's brick. All of these materials have attributes related to them. So you have everything from the textures for rendering to thermal information. This actually has the R values and everything stored inside of it. So if you were to do an energy analysis of the model, it would take into account the R values of the walls, which is pretty cool.
So, yeah, what that basically says is any information I want to assign to the model, to a given piece of the model, as long as I assign that information to every piece, it will give it back to me as a whole building, that value.
Yep. So with that as well, for scheduling and basically all your data collection, you could assign data to it with each component, not just walls, but anything from a toilet to a couch. You could put the model, the manufacturer. You could even put in the cost, where you could buy it from, what the website is, and the type mark for tagging it so that it knows which schedule it goes into, where it goes into in the schedule.
Some of the interesting uses people are putting this to are contractors are using it for precise takeoffs of material.
Mm-hmm.
Owners of buildings are using it for managing their buildings. For example, you can click on a pump and it will say, this is pump manufactured X model number, and they can begin to say, okay, we last serviced it 2 years ago, and literally anything in the building, you can know something about it.
Real quick thing about the walls too is that you actually construct them. This is a better example because that was just 12-inch masonry, but with this program you have to be very careful that you do things correctly the first time. Like, don't just put a wall down and, alright, it's the correct finish, it's the correct thickness. If you're going to use, if you're going to take advantage of all the aspects of the program, you want to be able to incorporate right here. This is just your basic 1 hour 5-inch wall. It's right now it says the structure is a metal stud layer. You can specify whether or not it has insulation inside of it, and from there you could add just the gypsum wall board and the finish. It constructs that wall, and then it reveals the R value and thickness.
Simon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've noticed that as you were able to pick selections, it had a visual. Is that how you assemble a rendering, by picking those visual attributes?
Yeah, this is actually what Revit comes with is a library of images. So these will all show up rendered in And what I actually do to create custom is you could actually create a new material, or you could take the existing material, and all you have to do is any of these templates, a JPEG, a PNG, you get them off Google Images or anything, and you just assign that to it, and then you control the various aspects of it to make it whatever is going to make it look best. So change the sample size. You can make it tiled, or there are a lot of little tweaks you do just to create the best outcome for a rendering.
So, in other words, we're using it for a technical set of documents, but its value is also that we can use it to communicate to people what the exterior or the interior of the space is going to look and feel like.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, here's one thing I'm doing for a client who wants to see what their house will look like. Which one of these? Oh, that's an old rendering. I think that one's the final one. So this is a house. I've got another one pulled up right here. This is this house I'm rendering for someone who wants to know what their house will look like once it's done being constructed. So this is the kitchen right here, and this is just a night of rendering, tweaking the materials, adding certain components so that they could actually see what it looks like. And you could do the same thing with this medical facility. There's really no limit to what you could do.
So you started out building this in lines, and giving it attributes, and it showed up like that.
Yeah, this one they had an architect design it, and I actually took for the sake of making it quick, I actually just imported I took the PDFs, I imported them into AutoCAD, because AutoCAD can read the lines, and then I took that DWG and I imported it into Revit, and all you have to do is let's see, I'm going to first book. All you have to do is trace over them.
Okay.
To create the model.
All you've got is a piece of paper. You can still create a model.
Yeah, if you of course AutoCAD is a little picky. So on a few projects, I've just had to import the actual raster image or the JPEG and trace over it. But as long as you get the scale right, and for projects like this where the dimensions don't have to be to a 1/16 of an inch tolerance, it doesn't really matter. That's a good way to at least get a good visualization of the project.
Okay.
So you get, it depends on the project really, whether or not.
If I wanted to go to Dr. Guevaro's office next week, say, hey, Jorge, I want to show you your building. And he thinks I'm going to whip out a roll of plans, but actually, I want to have you on a connection to the screen. What can you show up right now?
Actually, I've got something. I've been working with Revit has a few features that it's how do you say? There's a bit that's left to be desired. So there are third parties that create certain add-ons that you can work with. This one's called an Escape. I'm using the trial right now. Hopefully, I didn't load this beforehand, so it might take a little while. Essentially, what Escape does. Let's see. Alright, that's loading right now. Essentially, with these third parties, they add features that make the, I guess, the interactive experience more realistic with Revit. So it'll take that building information, and you would actually get into the world of virtual reality with this. I don't know if either of you have experienced. Yeah, like the VR glasses or VR goggles. But you can actually use that with these models. Okay. So I'm hoping this will. Okay, yeah, this loaded. Alright, so this is through Inkscape, and this is a lot like you'll see on Autodesk 360. However, with Inkscape, it's a lot more realistic. I love this. I think it's, let's see, this one is $45 a month, so I was thinking about getting it actually. If there's enough for me. With Inkscape, this works best with 2 monitors because you have to control it from, there we go. Let me close this other one. Okay. So with Inkscape, you can even hear, I don't know if you can hear I'm outside right now, so there are birds, but in the program there are actually birds. So it gives you it gives you an auditory experience as well. But this takes all the materials and it gives them it's almost like a video game. And what I like about this is it actually has constraints. So it knows that this is a floor, it knows that's a door.
Yeah, I see he's picked up the materials.
Yes. Which is really nice because Autodesk 360 doesn't pick up any custom materials that you might have. Which I use a lot of custom materials because the library is a little limited. Let's see. Alright, so I believe this is a door. It's not perfect, obviously, but there you go. Alright, walk in.
The PT space.
Yep. So as you can see, it's actually rendering it as I go along to as realistic as my computer can take.
Yeah. So if we wanted to add families, objects, like the 2 beds that would be in that corner, that's something we could, go to these days. You could go to that manufacturer, download the family, and put it in.
That depends entirely on the manufacturer. I have seen a few that they do provide Revit models, but quite often you have to go through them database because there are people like you and me who create the models. They say, all right, I have this desk from IKEA right here. I'm going to measure it and I'm going to model it and then I'm going to put it online for people to use.
I already see something, evidently in our drawings somewhere it says that door has a window in it, and it doesn't. So, okay.
Yeah. So that's one positive feature of this program too is when a walkthrough in a walkthrough you can pick up stuff like that you might not because it's harder to see the inside through Revit itself. You have to go through another program.
So we don't have the imaging equipment in, but now we're in the imaging suite. So the power of this can be, as soon as we can get the imaging machines in there, we can show the nurses and the staff how much room they have to walk around.
Yes, that's a big thing I noticed with this is it's actually got the constraints. So say there's a table right there, it won't let you walk through the table. You have to move around the table, so you have a better idea. And what I really like is they actually have the stairs, right? You can actually,
Stairs.
That's why, this is an aspect. Enscape's the only one that I find that's really got this down really well. So also with this, what you could do is you can take a panorama. You see there's a stereo option here. So what you do with the stereo option is, say you imported it to your phone and you hooked it up to like Android Cardboard, and you could actually, you put the math or you put the goggles on your head and you look around as if you're actually there.
Gotcha.
You could take shots and all that. So that's just the feature I really like about the third parties, how they can work with Revit to make it even more interactive.
What would it take? How much would it take? A lot of time to start populating, particularly the imaging equipment.
What do you mean?
To put, even if it was just a generic MRI machine.
Oh,
would you put it into our Revit model, or would you put it? Well, one thing is that we have two separate models on this project. This is important to know. We have two separate models on this project. One is the architecture, and this other one is our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. It's a separate Revit model, and they get married together. And we aren't able to see it here because we're only working with the architectural model. But the full model, we can go up into above the ceiling and see if a duct is running into a beam, or there's not enough clearance for the ceiling, from the ceiling for the lights. So what made me think of that is I know that in the MEP drawings, in the MEP model, we modeled the imaging machine. And I didn't know if we could, not here today in this demonstration, but marry the two models together and then redo the landscape.
Let's see. Right now I'm downloading the MEP model, so I'll just open that up for now. Okay, there it is. Let's see. Here's the MEP model. Now you could actually do this with the Autodesk 360 even. I could share that too.
Picture is in there as well.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much around the MEP model.
Can we go inside it?
Yeah. In reality, you don't even need Enscape to do something like that. You could just use the A360.
Are we in Enscape now, or are we looking?
Right now, I'm launching Enscape.
Let's give it a shot.
This is actually, it's not too expensive, and it has a lot of features that I really like. Oh, there's no ground.
Okay, so I can see the new electrical service on the building.
Yep.
Coming in from overhead. We've got our lighting in there. Let's go towards the imaging rooms.
Let's see, I have to orient myself here.
Okay, you're outside to the south.
exit.
Okay, that's the PT on the left.
Okay, here are the bathrooms.
Oh, the bathrooms, okay. Let's go in the bathroom. Let's go in the bathroom and see what we see.
One thing is, I know I put the flush valves in, and I don't think this one's updated.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah, flush valves in his model, I bet it is.
Let me go through the door.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, over there. Okay.
Okay, emergency light, mirrors. See, I'm able for the first time to see what fixtures he picked. An ADA comment, by the way, is we got to skinny that down to find a unit that's 4 inches.
For the
hand dryer, but I'll figure that out.
okay. Let's see, do these lights work? Yeah, it looks like the lights are working. Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, let's see before we see an imaging.
Alright, so there you go.
Okay, this is the control room for the PET CT, I believe. And then if you turn around, look the other way, behind you, that'll be the window for the MRI.
Something blocking this window.
There's a conflict in where the windows, he doesn't have a window where you've got a window.
Okay. Well, let's go into...
There we go. Wow, this gives us a ton of information that I wasn't able to see before today.
Yeah, I don't know if it really translates on your end, but just, the feedback or the virtual feedback I kind of get gives me a real sense of the space, or the amount of space I have there.
Just to pick up.
Where did I go? I keep hitting space, which turns the constraints off.
His walls are not lined up with your columns or your piping or something. I don't know. Your walls aren't just lined up yet.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I know you wanted to see the ducts, and let's see if I can go through the roof. We go in between. Oh, you know what? He didn't have the roof on here on this 3D view.
Okay.
But, this is, yeah, you can see the bow trusses.
Yep.
I wonder if I can walk on this roof. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, one of the other 3D views, I think he just has the roof hidden at this, in this 3D view.
Yeah. Okay. So when we put together this HVAC units we put in, okay,
Okay, so you can see all the little details, all the little conflicts that you might have.
fantastic.
What is this? This isn't the mezzanine.
The mezzanine. So
Okay.
he's got to clean up his ductwork and get the right now. He's got. He mentioned to me the only conflict he found was we had some ductwork going through the mezzanine. All right, there it is.
Yeah.
So he's just got to figure that out. Here I was thinking about how to use this to show Dr. Navarro, but what I'm finding out is I can see exactly where we need to clean up some coordination issues.
Yeah. Like, yeah, constraints are on. I can't walk through that bar right now.
Okay.
We just turned them off. There we go. Out through the door, and so one thing I would really like to, I'm still trying to figure out, are the walkthroughs, because I would like to actually be able to record the walkthrough. Let's, be able to record this.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit harder and rather intensive on my computer.
I mean, harder because your file, or it's more to control, or
It's, well, with Revit itself, it does have the walkthroughs, however, it doesn't recognize constraints, like this does. So, if I go upstairs, I have to actually input the height.
Revit walks right through the doors and walls. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Revit will walk through the walls. This actually recognizes.
Hold on right here. This is the imaging window. I want to look at this for a second. I turn around to the right. Please.
All the way, or?
You've got a roof leader to deal with there, and I don't know what the other thing is. But that'll be field coordinated. Okay.
I think a lot of this is because this is just the MEP model. But
Yeah.
the architecture's not in there.
We put it together.
Yeah, because it looks like there's no finished floor. It's just a slab.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it gives an idea of what's possible. And what you use it mainly for rendering.
For the most part, yes. Just because since I don't have an architect's license, I can't exactly take on full projects myself. So a lot of what I find is people have an architect who designed it, but they want to see what it looks like. So that's where I come in.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to show us?
There are more properties like the parametrics of the, let's see.
Or any of your other projects?
I think they're mostly all renderings. The one thing, I didn't go into the schedules here. This was I had a bit of a conflict going into this, however, just because some things aren't exactly connected, but with the schedules, this is what I was talking about earlier, where you have to be careful as to exactly what you put into the model. If you're going to do everything's out of Revit, everything's going to be tied together. Every single door you put in, you have to make sure that you have specified that, okay, so we have the door schedule here. You have, you have the material, you have, let's see, this one actually mentions whether or not it's glass. You can choose, if I go into properties here, let's see. Alright, so you could throw in any of these details, the type, comments, the model, cost, all of that. You could throw that all into here, and if you go back to a single door, let's see. I can hear that bird in the background echoing. Okay. Okay, there we go. If I choose a door, so right now, I've got this door right here. What I could do is choose that door. I could choose how thick it is, the height and the width. You could choose the rough openings. type mark, which is going to be the door tag, all of that, like I said before, all of that information is going to go into that schedule that I had referred to earlier. And if I wanted to, I mean, that's basically, that's the only other really thing I wanted to point out, where the schedule is right there was, you know, you can't just place a door into the model and forget about it, but if you want to create schedules, if you want to get an accurate model, you have to be sure to input the information that you want for the contractors, you know, that. And I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Here's what I'd like to do. I'll be sending you more markups. We're going to submit for permit next week.
Okay.
Assuming our structural guy's done. And then I'd like to work on, actually you've uploaded this model to the mechanical engineer, right, Chris?
Yeah, I did. The central one I'm working on. Yep.
Yeah, so I know he's working on a lot of the conflicts that we see here right now. Then, once he's done that, I'd like to come back and populate some furniture and equipment. We can walk the client through it. And it's going to be especially valuable because what we didn't go through is a lot of those rooms in the imaging center, we don't have equipment information on them yet. This is a great jump to be able to take the imaging operator into the mammography room, the bone scan room, the DEXA scan room, Sion rooms, and say, okay, where do we need data ports? Where do we need any special power grounding, anything special lighting?
Yeah.
But I'd like to get. I want to. Priority one is let's get the two-dimensional set ready for permit next week. Part two is clean up the model with MEP coordination, and then step three will be once we're there, let's populate it. Let's get so we can populate it with equipment, FF&E. So this gives me a great idea of where we are. Thanks very much, Simon.
Yep, no problem.
All right, and I'll be sending you some more markups of that.
Okay.
Thank you, Simon.
Yep, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.